Welcome to the Mastering the Game of Life podcast. In this podcast, there'll be insights around 3 key areas to mastering the game of life: purpose, prosperity, philanthropy. Your host, Paul Lowe, the third sector mentor, is the founder of Hearts Global CIC, which along with many other of his charitable commitments has been responsible for positively impacting thousands of people's lives, particularly young people from disadvantaged communities. Author of Mastering the Game of Life, From Pain to Purpose, and Speaking from Our Hearts books. Introducing your host, Paul Lowe.
Welcome, listeners, to this Mastering Life podcast, and I'm here at the home of Rachael Taplin, the owner of Blue Boo Media, and I'm actually involved with Rachel's group. So I know from the many conversations we've had, she's got a fascinating story to tell. So without further ado, Rachael, a very warm welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
No problem at all. So when we spoke previously, Rachael, about what might be an appropriate title in terms of your, as I say, your very powerful and inspiring message, you suggested life first, business second. Do you want to give us an insight on that?
Yeah, I've been so lucky. I've worked for myself for 23 years now. So I've kind of gone through the highs, the lows, the trying to find yourself in the business world and striving for success. And then you realise what it's all about. And it's just family and life is your most important thing. So I constantly have to try and remind myself and check myself into what am I doing this for. And so life is more important than my business. I love my business and I love my community and I love what I do, but my life is first. First
and foremost. So the business element is a means to an end.
No, not at all.
No?
It's not, because if it was a means to an end, you could just go out and get a job, couldn't you? Or you could do anything you didn't like. No, I'm really passionate about, because my life is first, I get to choose what I want to do.
Okay.
I get to do things I enjoy, work with the people I like.
Yeah.
So it's coming back to constantly for me those relationships and what I want to get out of it.
Right.
And in 2012, when I set up Blue Boo, it was a real kind of, this is my chance to think about what I want to do as a business, what fits me. At the time, my daughter was still quite young, how I want to work my business around my life. So that, I suppose that came first. So it certainly wasn't a means to an end, because as we know in business, it's really hard work.
yeah, of course.
And that's never really the case. But yeah, I just have to constantly check in and think about why I'm doing it and making sure I'm enjoying myself along the way.
Yeah, and that's vitally important, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not always the same. Don't get me wrong. I still have occasional sleepless nights, and I listen to self-help stuff all the time in terms of kind of like constantly growing as a person and constantly educating myself and getting rid of those little demons in your brain.
Yeah.
You know, when you worry sometimes at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm human like anybody, but I think I'm really grateful and know that I love the whole universe thing and thoughts become things. So you just got to create it. We've got one shot, one life, got to live it to the best, haven't we?
Yeah, that word universe, I love it, I believe in it, I know it to be true, but it's interesting how so many comments come back, the fluffy stuff you mean.
Yes, I know, but don't you think over the last few years it's more acceptable now, more people talk about it. You know, there's quite a lot of spiritual people out there that have helped you know, talk about it, and famous people, and it's not quite so woo-woo now, is it? You know, and spirituality is quite well known, you know, as a religion, as Christianity, or whatever it is. It's now recognised, and it's lovely, it's brilliant.
Yeah, definitely, because my take on that is, you know, chasing external goals is fine, and there are a lot of obviously immensely successful people that not necessarily as successful internally. And what I'm finding increasingly is the conversations I'm having with thought leaders and very, very successful business people and community leaders is there is now that more sort of bigger acceptance and that look inwards about, if I can do that externally, if I'm really, inverted commas, sorted inside or at peace with myself, then I can do even more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I think there's a definite shift, and I think there's a definite shift as well to a more heart-centered approach to life, ergo business.
Yeah.
And that for me has been a significant, you know, I'm watching that shift unfold very, very, very slowly.
Yeah, I think you align yourself with who you want to be around and surround yourself, and your business evolves in one certain way because of your environment, and I'm a big believer of that.
Yeah.
We are the people around us.
Yeah.
You know, So absolutely, and heart-centered business should be that. Values is really important.
Yes.
And I think that's why working with people, especially you're more on a one-to-one basis, and I love my Club 100 community that we've got. We do our workshops, and it's funny what you're attracting. They're such great people. We're all working hard. We all want the same things. We want to achieve success.
Yes.
But we've got the right kind of values behind it as well. So yeah, definitely heartfelt is all the way.
Yeah. And Dr. John D. Martini says that, never really get involved with anybody, whether it's life or business, that one, doesn't share the same vision, and two, more importantly, the same values that's going to help you achieve that. Because if you do, you're just going to be, it'll fall apart.
Yeah.
And some might say that's an academic approach. Well, for me personally, it holds water, and it's held water time and time again. So I've always, jokingly, somebody said to me recently, what would you do? Somebody was asking me some advice about dating a single guy. Well, what would you do? What's your first conversation? How do I talk to her? Well, just first of all, be yourself. Well, what kind of questions do I ask? And I said, this is probably the most unromantic question you will ever ask in your life. But for me, if I was in your shoes, I'd be asking that girl, what's her vision, what's about, and sort of having conversations around the values.
Yeah.
Now, that's not a sexy conversation, but to get that insight about what that person is going to save you a lot of potential heartache down the road.
But I think anything like that on any level, whether it's a new relationship or whether it's a business partnership or whether it's your kids and what you're trying to achieve with them, you've all got to kind of have the same goal in what you're trying to achieve out of it, and to be on the same page and accept that we're all different, but maybe your different isn't what I'm looking for, and that's absolutely fine. So you wish each other well with all the kindness in the world, and you move on. Absolutely. There's no, and I think we've all got, we've all had that. I've gone through, I was divorced 10 years ago, so I've done the whole dating thing, so I know about all that, and it's so true. Share your values of what you're looking for and be true to yourself. You can't go into anything pretending, we can do that, or we can service that as a business for you, when you can't. Or you go in to say, I love rugby, when you hate it. And I don't mind going to rugby games, and you go to a few, and then 6 months down the line you go, I can't stand, I love rugby, by the way. You've just got to be, you've got to be true to yourself before you can kind of be true to other people.
So again, Rachel, from one or two of our previous conversations, business is challenging, life's been challenging, and is and continues to be. It's how we meet those challenges. Do you want to share a little bit of an insight into your what some might say even more challenging journey?
Yeah, I can do. I'm really open about the highs and lows that I've had in business, and personally as well. So I've always worked in the media, so worked in radio, helping people in the SME market. So I love the SME market. But I always worked full time, then set up an ad agency, got on that hamster wheel of constantly working, and business was becoming first, and I was on that cash flow. You've got to bring enough money to pay the staff, pay the wages and all that. And then I was so blessed to have my gorgeous daughter that, tried 2 years for. And when she did come along, I just didn't learn the lessons because I knew no better. So I had to go back to work 6 weeks in, full time. And it just, something had to give, and I got really ill and had postnatal depression, and suffered with it and hid it for 2 years, which was really hard because I just wanted everything to be fine and you put on a positive face, and I was so grateful I got this beautiful girl. Couldn't understand why I couldn't cope. So that was a really tough time for me, accepting that. But you just reinvent yourself, don't you? And then that's when I started looking at, I need to start adjusting what's important and slowing my life down. Then I set up my business called Mums in Control. So I wanted to work flexibly around Annabelle. So I set up a magazine that I franchised all around the country. It was lovely, loved this business, and did extremely well. We were printing like 250,000 copies per print run. We were interviewing loads of celebrities, and it was brilliant. It was back in the day in 2008 when we used to make loads of money. And business was fantastic.
I remember those days.
Do you remember those days? Yeah.
Just.
but then again, I went through my divorce. It's one of those things. We just fell off at different pages, and again, I went through depression again for the second time. But this time I knew how to deal with it, and this time I'd gone on my own personal development journey and realised that my mindset was my greatest asset with everything and anything. So I kind of educated and healed myself, I just discovered The Secret. The Secret was a massive part of my life. I do occasionally still put it on, you know, and listen to it, and I always think the right thing pops up at the right time. But I just learnt gratitude. I learnt thoughts in your mind become things, and so you can change the state of your mind.
Yeah.
And I still, of course, because I work for myself, my daughter's all grown up now, so she's gone away. So I'm in my house working. I'm constantly on my own, really. Don't get me wrong, I have a great social life, so I'm out. But I have to motivate myself. So I've just learnt to kind of do what does. I go out walking, which I love. So this is where my life is first. I'll get up and I'll go for a walk in the morning. I'll get my mindset sorted. I'll see my friends. I'll go and treat myself to a spa day before my business, because if I haven't got my health and my happiness, what's it for anyway?
Absolutely. And that brings 100%. And that brings us in quite nicely, Rachael. I shared with you, obviously, this where do you reside, the Heart's House model.
Yeah.
And I suppose just for the benefit of the camera there. And that first part, really, that first step is around awareness, isn't it? Where are we? Where's the starting point in our life? Where are we actually? Where are we at?
For me now, where am I at? Or where do we start with awareness?
Well, it was a general kind of statement, but yeah, absolutely. Where do you feel you are in terms of the...
You know what? I think it's an age thing. And I think if you can get this earlier on and you can discover mindset, it's amazing because it puts everything out in perspective, because we get on this treadmill of life to aspire to what and what for, but we don't learn those lessons naturally, I don't think, until we get older. But if, you know, my daughter's really absolutely amazing, and so she's been brought up, you know, her dad's very entrepreneurial and business-like as well, so we were very similar mindsets, obviously, so we've created this little bombshell of a fantastic positive mindset. So some days, to me, I remember I was putting on an event a few years ago, and I'd only got, you know, last minute tickets to go last minute, and I'd only got a few gone tickets, and she said, "Don't worry, mummy, you can do it." I think she was only young. She went, "If you can't make it work, you can always get a job at Tesco's." So she always had like an upside or a positive side. So I think I've kind of instilled in her early on this mindset: you can do whatever you want, you can be whatever you want. And I think if you have that gift, or you're open-minded to it, or anyone that's listening to this thought, I haven't gone down the spiritual path, it's way too woo-woo, just start with just a few things. Maybe it's The Secret, or maybe it's Tony Robbins, or whatever it is. Listen to something. YouTube, I can, in the morning, if I just want to get going, you've seen now in my office I've got my Alexa, I'll probably go off now, I can put on anything that's motivational. So I put YouTube on, and I put motivational speeches. You can make it work, or you can achieve. And it's just Les Brown. I love Les Brown. He's one of my heroes. You can just think you can conquer the world. And if you can go with that attitude to you can get anything you want, whether it's a vision of how many holidays you want that year. I set my vision for 6 weeks this year. I've achieved it. Whether it's happiness in your friendship and family, and whether it's in business, you set your mind to it. 9 times out of 10, you can achieve it.
Yeah, I agree with that, because essentially what you're doing there, you're creating that awareness raising and those signs, because I believe that success is already within us. The fact that we don't actually know that, because we're too conditioned by our upbringing and all the cliches and stereotypes, and you know, big boys don't cry, and boys from council estates and girls from council estates don't go to university, and all these limiting beliefs that certainly I was brought up with. It's like, well, that's life, because my mother told me, but all my family told me, my friends told me, so it must be right. And it's breaking out of that sort of that bubble, isn't it? I
think it's having reality checks as well. And as we get older, we naturally have those reality checks when, you know, loved ones pass away and things like that. But for me, I mean, I'm really blessed. I've still got my parents, but my sister's become really poorly in the last 12 months. She's got a disability that she's looks like have to live with. And it's been an absolute game changer for all of us. And she's the most positive, wonderful, amazing person. But she's lost her whole independence at the moment. She's, you know, she can't walk very much. She can't, you know, she can't drive. She can't go to work. She's completely dependent on us as a family. Now I feel so lucky that I am a sister. I love her to bits, and it's a privilege to spend more time with her. But it is a wake-up call. You think, oh my God, I've got 2 arms, 2 legs that work. You know, I can get out there and be grateful, look after my body. I know I love to go out and party and have a few too many drinks. But on the whole, I'm really healthy. you know, and I think it's just analysing and thinking you don't want to wait for a wake-up call. You know, you just need to grab it now and look at all the really good parts of your life.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, everyone's busy and everyone's got their own worries, but sometimes you just have to stop and be still. And don't get me wrong, I never always practice what I preach. But you're asking me honestly.
Theory practice, yeah.
Absolutely. And there's days where I don't do it, but the days I can check myself in, God, I feel so much better afterwards.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So on that model then, Rachael, I mean, we could kind of climb the steps. We could, you know, from your world, what resonates most or most strongly in your world around that, you know, those words, that concept that you see? Is there anything that you'd kind of like to home in on?
I think beliefs and values are really key, you know, in what you want to achieve. I've been working on a project, we just discussed it this morning, for quite a long time, that's had my absolute heart and soul into it. And it hasn't come off the way I wanted to. It will do, but you know, you have to learn that there's bumps along the way, so you've got to be resilient, you've got to be flexible, you've got to kind of go back to basics sometimes and constantly try and believe in yourself, and that's hard, you know. You think, oh, for goodness sake, why is it happening to me or whatever, and then you have to kind of go, well, actually, I've just parked it, it's out of my control. What am I good at? What can I do to help? How can I overcome this situation? You've got to believe in yourself. Your values, I went on a values day quite a few years ago, and it was really interesting. If anybody's ever done, you know, look at your values and try and means test your values, because often when you think what your values are, maybe relationships and health or well-being, when you actually means test it and you do it, my top value came out as safety and security.
Yeah.
So I have to feel safe and secure at everything I do, whether it's business or personal, financial, before I can get the other stuff right. Yeah, absolutely. So that's been absolutely brilliant for me. It's also held me back a little bit, I suppose, because I almost wrap myself up in cotton wool a bit. So I think it's just so the beliefs and the goals and the beliefs and the values is really key. Goals for me and strategies, that's on the top there. My goals now are, I still have goals in business, without a doubt, because Media Matchmaker, that I will be launching soon, has been a dream of mine for a couple of years. And you know, you have to keep going. You don't give up with it, but you might have to go down a different road that you anticipated with things. So my goal for that is massive. You know, it really is huge, big achievement we want to achieve for that. And that's my kind of next 5 years. That's it. Then I'm done. I shall probably sell that as a business. It will work really well. And then my goal is to kind of retire. Yeah. Whether I achieve that or not, I will retire.
Well, to use that word goal, Rachael, and use a football metaphor, which is very appropriate. So long as we achieve that goal, the way we get there, or the ball goes in the metaphoric net, is kind of by the by. Yeah. We have an idea, don't we, as a striker, that we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and life will challenge. Or a metaphoric defender will come in, challenge, so we have to go a different way. The fact that the ball eventually ends up in the net, but I never thought it to be like that. I thought it to be straight down the middle, let it on, bang. Yeah. No. It doesn't happen that way. And this is interesting, just to continue the football metaphor, because I did a video recently down at Nottingham Forest around the same thing. So my goal when I was a lad of 14 was that one day I would wear the red shirt of Nottingham Forest. There was a profound reason for that, because my whole world was falling apart, so I needed something to believe in, and that was it. Now the reality was I wasn't good enough to play professional football. So what happened was, many moons later, i.e. 24 years later to be precise, I still ended up representing Nottingham Forest, not as a player, but as a mentor.
Yeah, fantastic.
Within the club. Yeah. You know, so that belief, dream, goal, call it what you will, was still intact. Now, this wasn't a conscious thing, but what I never let go of was I'm going to represent that club, because I love that club, what they meant to me. And as the years went by, that became more and more profound, because they kept me alive. Yeah. And it was as stark as that. So that's a great example of what you're always talking about, isn't it? About, okay, the goal was achieved. Yeah. Completely different to the original kind of wrapping, if you like, or concept of what I thought I'd achieved.
Absolutely.
But in the bigger picture, and for me, that's the power of intention. You talk about the secret, and and what have you, that, that law of attraction and all that kind of stuff. It's like, I mean, there was a whole host of stuff that went off, with my addiction and the violence and, the turbulence of losing career moves and relationships. But it's interesting how that one thing still materialised.
It is true, and you've got to follow your dream and not be put off by things. What's the guy that's played Luther, the black guy, really handsome? He was doing an interview this morning, and he was saying about, don't let anybody put you off your dreams and your desires. This is your story, this is your life.
Absolutely.
If you want to be, if you're I think he said if you're an accountant, you want to be a ballet dancer, go and be a ballet dancer.
Yeah.
This is your chance, this is your story to create what you want to be. Don't be put off by people saying, oh, you can't do that. So for me, my dream always, when you're growing up, you have no idea what you want to do. Well, some people do, and that's wonderful if you really, truly know what you want to do, not being influenced by your parents, or outside influences. If you really know in your heart what you want to do, how lucky are you?
Yeah.
For me, I always wanted to be a TV presenter. That was just my dream.
Right.
I got shortlisted for the Broom Cupboard, then I got shortlisted for the Weather Girl, and I never quite got there. And then after I'd Annabelle, I thought, okay, I'm going to try again. So I did Cash in the Attic or something, but it never turned out. And that's when I thought, well, what's the next best thing? I love to kind of speak, I love to present, I love all those kind of things. So I thought, I'll just become a speaker.
Yeah.
So that was really my dream. I just love it. I come alive when I do that. I love sharing stuff. So I kind of, in some way, followed my dream of what I wanted to do. And you've got to do that.
Stephen Covey's 8th habit: find your voice. So you found your voice, and inspire others to find theirs.
Absolutely.
It's a fantastic. I love that focus.
I love all the motivation stuff. All the books are just amazing.
Yeah.
That's out there. It just can. Yeah, it can turn your world around, can't it? A book.
If you're open to it, yeah.
Even I'm dyslexic, a dyslexic PR person. So reading doesn't hold my attention very well, and I'm so scared to write. But audio, I've got Audible on all the time, and I'm listening to podcasts, obviously brilliant podcasts that are inspirational. Yeah, absolutely. Do whatever floats your boats, whether it's auditory, visual, or whatever, or the sayings are, do it. Get out and change your head, because you can change your life, can't you?
Definitely, and inspire others to then change theirs.
Absolutely.
It's that pebble in the pond syndrome, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You alluded to around your beliefs, Rachel, the need for certainty, and so if I can flip down one of the levels into the human needs step, because obviously when Robin speaks about his 6 human needs, and the first one is that need for certainty. So how do you cope with the flip side of that? Uncertainty / variety.
How do I cope? That's an interesting question. I don't know, if I'm being truthful. I'm open to everything, but I suppose I do think things through. So for me, my head, if I'm going to have a day off and just do anything, I'll plan to have that day off. If that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm always in control. And, I'll be the first to say I've had counselling over the years, which I think is brilliant as well. Again, if I feel a dip, I'll go and see a counsellor. And I knew control was something that I had to kind of learn, that I'm happier when I'm controlling what I'm doing. I don't mean controlling other people, controlling my head and planning and writing and ticking off and stuff like that. And the counsellor said, it's okay. If that's the way you are, it's okay. Yeah. You can't change what's going in your head. You have to accept it and just deal in some way. Yep. So uncertainty, I absolutely embrace it. But I have to think it through. So at the moment I've got uncertainty with Media Matchmaker, with my business. So I'm parking it to one side. I'm going to have to just trust that if it's meant to be. And what's the point in worrying over it? So it will come good and I will find a solution for it. And I'll carry on with all my PR training in between and do what, you just adjust, don't you? Absolutely. But in terms of life and what throws at me, anything that's thrown at me, people say, do you want to come and do this? Or I love adventure stuff. I'm like, count me in, I'll do it. Yeah. So I can do uncertainty and go out there. And I'm also grateful that you don't know what is around the corner, which is why you have to make the most of what you've got now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, with that intention setting that we alluded to at the top of this conversation, Rachel, it's about that, I've set that intention, but I've also then got to be open to the opportunities that's coming. Just because I'm not, or previously not been aware of that kind of thing, I need to kind of stretch and be open to say, oh, blimey,
Yeah.
And that, usually, from my experience, usually brings in a whole host of things like deservedness then. So case in that, you know, somebody from a high-flying business will ring you up and it's like, I want you to come on, you know, and be interviewed or whatever. And it's like, wow, where did that come from?
But that's so true, because I remember that when that happened, when I had Mums in Control, it was absolutely flying high. I had a phone call from the Equality and Human Rights Commission, asked if I'd organised a mumpreneur summit. You know, you think, what?
Yeah,
and I'm like, me?
Yeah.
And I just didn't feel like I deserved to be there.
Yeah.
And they put these thought leaders in, these amazing women, you know, and I got some of my own community, and we all sat around this boardroom table, and I remember thinking, I can't believe I've organised this and I'm leading this. But I did deserve to be there,
Absolutely.
you know. But you don't feel, we all feel, I think, to a point, and most people get this, we feel like we're blagging life, don't we? You know, to a point you think, really? Because we're constantly learning, aren't we? We constantly feel, well, I do sometimes, we're not quite what people see us to be. I talk about PR, perception is reality. Sometimes the perception is not the reality, but it's your realities, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting.
And that's all you can be responsible for at the end of the day. I mean, I have got a major problem with that slogan, cliche, call it what you will, about fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Hate that. Because for me, and this is going back to the heart-centered approach, it's about being totally true to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, as Jim Rohn says, in terms of people, you know, being drawn to you, some will, some won't, so what?
Yeah, but I think that's down to interpretation, don't you think? Because you could argue that I'm faking it till I make it, but my heart is totally in with what I'm doing with Media Matchmaker. My vision is totally in with it, but I'm just getting through whichever way I can to make it work. I'm not doing it with a blagging as in disrespectful or dishonesty, because that's not what... So I get it from that point of view. You don't fake it till you make it. So you don't go out and say, oh yeah, I can paint and decorate your house, when you can't paint and decorate someone's house and you look it up on YouTube. So there's an element of being, you know, obviously honest, you know. But yeah, I think that's down to interpretation. I might challenge you on that.
No, that's fine. I'm unrepentant, by the way, because on the context of your good self, Rachel, you know, I'll put it to you this way: if, in my perception, that you were somebody that was blagging it, and it's like I couldn't be involved with you.
No, I know what you mean. No, and I'm trying to say it from a yeah, absolutely, because we wouldn't have worked together, absolutely, and people buy off people, and you get to know people from their soul level, don't you?
Absolutely.
And who they are.
Yeah,
I totally get that. But there's also an element, we're all slightly vulnerable, we're all slightly
You've
doing
hit it.
things new,
You've
we're all
hit it.
slowly learning as we go along. We don't know it all.
Yeah.
Every day is a school day, so that's where my element is, well, you know, I'm creating a website today, you know, to launch an event. I'm teaching myself as I go along how to do it, and I will get it live, you know, so I suppose that's where I'm coming from with that. But yes, you don't want to go with people that are kind of just doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that, and there's also, I mean, for me, that when you said that V word, it's like that's the word that, you know, for me underpins, that's the glue between our difference of a perception here, that vulnerability. Because for me, with the work I do, I'll openly admit my vulnerability.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely fine, because the reality is, on this planet, bar none, everybody's got vulnerability.
I agree.
Some people prefer to blag it. Well, no, you can get over that. Well, yeah, you can get over it. But why wouldn't you create that empathy, that reality, that authenticity with people? Because as you quite rightly say, Rachel, people buy off people. It's a relationship of some description. It's about trust, isn't it? It's about mutuality.
Of course it is.
You know, all these things come in. So that's why, from my point of view, I do have a major problem with that. You know, that when people come across as brash and arrogant and this and that and the other, and it's like, whoa.
And they'll attract their own tribe, won't they? Their own community of people that like that approach. And I agree, you can't resonate with certain people, and nor should you, because we're all on different vibrations for a different reason, aren't we? We're all different energy levels.
Absolutely.
You know, and it just goes back to like attracts like. You look at your friends that are around you, you're not friends with them because you don't like them. Why would you do that? You're friends with them because you have the same belief, values, interests, or whatever it is. You know, and then there's some people you just come along and you think, oh, I don't like you, but they're lovely people, but for some reason you just don't click.
No connection.
You just have to accept it.
So from that first level of certainty, and I suppose what you're saying there is, and isn't this true for all of us? It's kind of buying into Maslow's hierarchy there of we need that terra firma, whether that's spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically. We need the feet. Yeah. We need to know that our feet are on solid ground, as I say, within that, that spiritual side or emotional, whatever it is. Then we can kind of flirt with a bit of something different and embrace change, because we know where our starting point is. We can always go back home to the safety of our where we reside, as long as we know where that is, which kind of reinforces the awareness. So on the next level up then, in terms of the 4 core needs, Rachel, so we've done the certainty, we've done the uncertainty stroke variety. And then what about the significance? How do you feel, if I can be allowed to be presumptuous and answer this question before you do,
okay,
which is not the done thing, but I would presume that a PR person has got a great need for significance for whatever reason. Would that be
How do you mean? See, I don't understand what you mean by that.
The fact that he or she wants to stand in front of a camera, listen to me, people.
Oh, I see. Okay, so I don't know actually, because I know I love it.
Yeah.
I love speaking and I love sharing and I love inspiring. I think that's the thing, because I know, and I've seen it happen so many times. I get up and share my story, and I'm not really, just for everyone that's listening to it, I'm not a PR expert as in a PR agency. I'm a PR expert because I've had PR success myself as a business owner.
Yes.
So it's slightly different. I'm coming from my heart.
Yeah.
I am teaching you how to connect to journalists, how to find your story for an emotional connection. But I'm doing it because I've learnt the hard way, and I've had loads of success myself, and I've had all those fears and all those failures too.
Yeah.
So, when I get up on stage, I get more and more excited and louder as I go along and give myself a headache because I'm bouncing around, because I'm going to go, this stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
All you need to do is this, and that can change your world. Because PR for me, I used it at the time when I had Mums in Control. My business was flying high. I got into Good Morning Britain. It was Good Morning GMTV then with Lorraine Kelly. I got into the Daily Mail. And then when my business was struggling, I needed it to just pay the bills. Yeah. And so I used PR at a time that I was really, really challenged in my business. So I learned how to do it myself, and I launched my own national day. It was called National Working Mums Day, and I had 70 radio interviews in one day. So I share that with people, and I just think I'm hopefully helping. So that's the reason why I do it. It's not because it's not an ego thing, and PR should never be an ego thing. But there is a slight element. I just love it. I love my photos. I drive people mad on Facebook. I know I do. But you know what? I'm happy with who I am as well.
Absolutely.
I love sharing pictures with my family or my friends, or mornings, everybody. And I know I annoy. And I had an email of somebody once via Facebook and said, "You are so annoying on Facebook. Why are you always so positive?" And I said, because it's a choice. Because I've been low. I can get low. So you know what? Do you want me to show how low I am, or have a really horrible day? Or I can go, turn my head around, morning, go out for a walk, how great is life? Yeah, absolutely. So that's why I do it. And genuinely, I've had fantastic stories of people that come away and they get so excited as well. And they're like, I did it. I got on radio the next day, or I got on TV. That's why I do it. Okay. I stand challenged. And I stand challenged on a number of things, not least because I answered a guest question before he or she even was allowed to answer it. And more importantly, from a mentoring point of view, there was a big assumption in there. So 2 back costers on both counts. I take the learning and I move on. Do you know what? I love these interviews because you never know where they're going to go. And then because we haven't prepped for this, I have no idea how to answer it other than honesty. Absolutely. And I'm not going to shy away. I do love it. Me and my sister is so shy. She hates the photos. And I'm like, come on, let's take a photo. I don't know why I've always loved it. Apparently my parents said when I was about 5, I used to cry in front of the mirror just so I could practice crying. Really? I can't help who I am. The next Meryl Streep. I don't know. Yeah, I did do A-level dramas, but we'll leave it there. Not that I'm saying you're the same age, by no. Paul, shut up. Well, I'm getting to that age, so there you go. Not quite there. Yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Okay. So on the 4th one then of the human needs, love and connection. Yeah.
Where are you with that?
It's the most important thing to me. Most important than anything. I'm so lucky. I have wonderful, wonderful friends and family in my life. I really do. And I think I went through a divorce 10 years ago, and it's funny actually because I thought I'd met someone so lovely over the summer. So I've been on my own for so long. I've had a couple of relationships. So when you say love and connection, it comes in all different ways.
Oh, absolutely.
So my life is covered with my friends and my family. I'm tick 100% happy. In my love and connection to myself, that's taken me a long time to get there, you know, and your lovely wife, Lynn, you know, I've spoken to her, just, you know.
Girlfriend.
Oh, girlfriend, sorry, well, you should marry her, but, you know, girlfriend. Or
Lynn, do not listen to this podcast.
You know, she knows my journey, and you do a lot of work on yourself, don't you? And it's been okay to be on my own, and I've actually really enjoyed it. And last year I spent a lot of time doing stuff for me. I had a hip replacement quite a few years ago, so I wanted to climb Snowdon. You know, I love adventure stuff, so I've done white water rafting. I've done the things for me. Yeah. And then I did start dating again, and I met someone wonderful. Yeah. But it just didn't work out, and it was such a shame. But you know what? I'm going to take the good from it. We've wished each other well, you know, because that's all you can do in life. Because it's like you say, if your values aren't, if they're not checked at the beginning, and you want the same things. Yeah. You have to wish each other well and move on. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not going to get down about it. I'm not going to get low about it, you know, because you could say, oh, God, I seriously thought we had a future together. I'm going to say, do you know what? I am open for love and I'm ready. Yeah. But if it happens, great. If not, honestly, my love and connection is up there. I'm lucky.
And that is absolutely the way to approach it, because I think so many of us, and I've certainly been guilty of this, I've looked to external trinkets, external relationships, that it doesn't solve the challenge, does it? No, look inwards.
Absolutely. And it takes a lot to do that, because I believe, and we all believe different things, you keep getting sent the same lesson until you learn
absolutely.
it, don't you?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And for me, I still plan. I'm a planner because I don't like being on my own all the time, because I'm in my house all day working on my business on my own. Yeah. And my vibration is higher when I'm around energy. Yes. So, you know, I love to plan, and so therefore I'm always, the next weekend I know what I'm doing. I'm out with my friends and family, or you know, whatever I'm doing, I'm a planner. Yeah. And that's okay. And then so I've got the best of everything. But you know what? I can watch whatever I want on my telly. I can do what and go wherever I want. Life's pretty good, really. Yeah. So it's good. Love and connection is the most important thing.
Particularly with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
The penultimate one. So we've done the 4 sort of core primitive needs. Now we're into the 2 higher level spiritual ones. The penultimate one, growth. What's your world around growth?
You've got to always grow, I think. Always learn. I'm not into politics. I don't follow the news. You know, I remember doing a TV interview and someone said to me, so where do you stand on Brexit? And I thought, oh my God, I just don't follow the news at all. And I said, well, my dad is quite a well-read man. I mean, bless him, he reads the Sun every day, but he just follows the news and everything. But he has my best interest at heart. Yeah. And I said, you know what, whatever he decides is good enough for me, because I know he'll look after me. Yeah. You know, so I kind of swerved that. But from a growth point of view, you know, okay, I'm not political, I don't follow the news, but I grow in myself. I grow with the people around me. Yeah. I think I grow as a person. So yeah, it's really important growing, you know, in terms of appreciating what you've got. You know, honestly, the 2 gifts is love and connection without a doubt, but it's your health.
Absolutely.
Because if you haven't got that, you haven't got anything. And again, this is I'm 48, I think I'm 48. Yeah, 48. And I'm getting to that stage where I shouldn't be, but I do have a few aches and pains and that. And I think I need to look after my body. I need to look after me and my mental health as well. Yeah. And I think that's what's been great, you know, with like Prince William, Prince Harry, they've been talking about mental health, yes, you know, quite a lot now. And I think we look after our health as much as we look after our mental health, as much as our physical health. Yeah. So I think that's a good thing. So yeah, always, every day is a school day. I love business. I love learning new stuff, but I also love the personal development on a kind of mindset side as well.
And it is so much more than just kind of fluffy, oh, I've got to spare half an hour, so I'll do some meditating because I've seen it on the TV and apparently it's good for you. It's so much more than that. It's an integral part of our lives now,
I'm always
isn't
reading,
it?
like, this is the book I'm reading at the moment. I think I put it on Facebook, so a few people heard this. Never Split the Difference. Negotiators if your life depended on it. It's like an FBI agent that takes in hostages and teaches people how to negotiate. I'm always learning and reading something. I've got something behind me. Crowdfunding here, step-by-step guide to crowdfunding. You know, I'm always trying to learn. You know, which I think is really key. So I'm learning the practical stuff for my business, but I'm also kind of giving myself a break as well and learning the spiritual side as well. If that's what you want, you know. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know, it's horse to water stuff. You can't force people, but I think certainly from my own perspective, the lesson I try and sort of share with people is, you know, I get this comment because I come from a real tough inner city council estate. You've gone all soft in the head. And my response is very, very colourful.
Yeah.
But for the decorum of this recording, I'll
We've
leave
done
it.
well, actually, haven't we?
Yeah, we've done very well. We haven't finished yet.
Okay.
We haven't finished. The day is young. But, you know, my response to that, Rachel, is, yeah, okay. Listen, the choice is we you know, where we've come from, where life can be very dark, very fearful. You're looking over your shoulder. There's no, all you've got is cynicism, fear. You're crippled. You're paralysed by fear. By me going soft, as you turn, do you know what I've got? I've got a world of love, self-love. I can give that to people that I choose to give it to because I'm now making a conscious decision about and controlling my life, if you like, rather than it controlling me and I've got to do this because it's expected of me. I've flipped that. So in terms of a polarised choice between fear and love, as you know, Gabby Bernstein in The Universe Has Your Back, she sums it up brilliantly. It is that very stark, black and white, fear versus love. For me, that's a one-horse race.
I think with some people, I think most people that are going to be listening to this are listening to it for a reason because they are open-minded, they're looking to grow. But there are people that it's not their fault if their mind is closed. It's not their fault if their environment hasn't given them the opportunity to kind of see things from different perspectives because it's all they know. You know, I mean, I look at my parents and I love them dearly, but my parents are brought up in a completely different generation and they're very Victorian. You know, growing up we had a very strict upbringing and I remember my parents, even really probably 8 years ago, weren't open-minded like this, almost didn't do the positive side of life in the nicest possible way. They'd almost sometimes see oh God, I feel like I've got a cold coming or this happened, but you know, different reasons. And now they have changed their mindset, you know, I don't think it's a result of me. I think it's just there's more open to us as well. But we can all change if we want to. And I think it's knowing how we can change. That's the thing. Sometimes it is if we want to, but some people like that hard guy might have said, oh, you've gone all soft. He doesn't know anything better because he's had to put on a tough... He doesn't know there's an alternative because he doesn't know how to go about it. I'm assuming it's a man, I don't know. But
yes,
you know, and it's like... We have to kind of have a little bit of compassion, empathy. I know we don't always, but you have to go, well, I'm the lucky one because my head is in that place, you know, and you just have to learn to accept people now. Sometimes, well, we can't change anybody. You have to change yourself,
absolutely.
Don't you? You know, that's all.
Yeah, and it's looking for that leverage as to why somebody wants to change. Because in the context of that scenario, I've only actually given you the first part of the conversation. The follow-on to it was, and this came from a guy that just, let's say, has been certainly in former years at the coalface of life, and I'll leave that to your imagination. But he then went on to say, I really admire what you've done. Brilliant. How do I do it? That how. And I love that word how, because for me, that's a very simple H, health, O for others, brackets relationships, and then the wealth. Not necessarily financial.
I agree.
And it's very simple. I believe that life is a very, very, very simple game. What we do as human beings is we complicate it massively. It's a bit like the game of football. I think football is a very simple game. If I score more goals than you, I'm going to win the game. And if I do that more times throughout a season than your team, I'm going to win the league. And what we get nowadays is, well, you know, and if you do this and if you do that and if you do the other, which is a great metaphor for life, it's like, just strip it all out, all the nonsense out. I've got a ball, you try and take it off me. All I'm going to do, you talk to some of the old professionals, and I think this is a great, great lesson in life. Just surround yourself by somebody who can do a little bit better with that ball.
Yeah.
So you're going to learn off him or her.
Yeah.
In a more forward position and pass that ball to him or her in a more forward position. Then you've got space. You move forward. He or she will pass it back. You're getting closer to goal. Wow, I've got a choice to make now.
Yeah.
Let me have a go at that goal.
And I think life has changed. You look at the big businesses now and the corporates. I think their mindset and their philosophy is very much like that. It's, you know, get people in that are better than you at what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's encouraged, and life is like that. You know, whereas, you know, back in the day it used to be fearful to bring someone in that might be better than you because you're jeopardising your own position, and that's very you kind of, it's just, you're holding everything in, aren't you? You're not giving, and I think the more you give and the more you help people, the more opportunities and the better it is. And what you said as well, you know, my philosophy is exactly what you said: happy, healthy, wealthy. And the wealthy isn't about financial always, but it's okay to have money. It's okay
absolutely.
to be wealthy.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's wealthy in love, wealthy in connection and whatever. And so happy, healthy, wealthy is something I've always used as well. So,
excellent. So the final one then, Rachel, of the 6 human needs, the contribution element. What's your views around the contribution? How do you look on that?
I think it's really important to give back in all ways if you can. You know, everyone gives what they can or what they're comfortable with. For me, on different levels, so friendship wise, you have to, it's a two-way relationship. Everything in life is flow, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's give and take. And I'm really fortunate with what I do. I'm really privileged what I do. I've got a valuable skill set. So sometimes I see stories from a business point of view, how do I give? Sometimes I see people that need help from a PR point of view, and I will just point them and connect them to the people that I know. And it's absolutely changed situations. So I don't know if you remember this story about Stephen Sutton, the little boy that who had an illness. Well, I think it was about 15, 16. He passed away sadly, but he had a bucket list of things he wanted to tick off.
Right.
And he'd organised this in the Guinness World Book of Records, and it was one on his bucket list. And what they were going to do is do these hearts and get as many people doing these hearts around in a field. And they needed something like, I think it was only about 500 people. It wasn't many, but they'd only got about 50. I'm like, what? And they contacted me with a week to go, and I'm like, yeah, let's on it. So we've got Central News involved, we've got BBC WM, we've got BBC involved, and it just went national.
Yeah.
Anyway, we did it. We've got the 500, and it got in the National Guinness Book of Records. So to do things like that is wonderful that I can do and help people like that occasionally. You know, and so you give where you can with a skill set. So you give your time if you can, you know, and you help people as well. And in terms of friendship and family, you're just there. That's just a given, isn't it?
It is. It is. But I even challenge my own family, and it's an ongoing journey about the number one contribution is to yourself.
Yes, and I think sometimes we're all guilty of not looking after ourselves.
Absolutely, especially if we've got kids.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely, because naturally, but you've got to look after yourself. It's that thing on the airplane, isn't
absolutely,
it? If,
it is, yeah.
Air thing comes down, you've got to put your own mask on first, but we don't see that, and as parents, naturally, you don't. You look after everyone else first, and I think we're all guilty of that to a point, but I think when you do know you've got to work on yourself, you can get a balance of that. But I think you naturally still go, okay, I'll do it, I'll help, I'll be there. You know, but I think if you've equally got the love coming back, they won't allow you anyway. Like you say, it flows naturally, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
You know, so that department, I'm very, very lucky.
Okay. Right, so as we come towards the end, Rachel, so if I was trying to paint this picture, you imagine, you know, that fateful day comes, hopefully decades away. How old did you say you were? 28?
I wish, 48, yes.
In decades in the future, and you've got 30 seconds to sum up what your life was about. What would that be around?
Oh my God.
No pressure.
Oh gosh. I just think it would be the love of the relationships in it's family and friends.
Yeah.
You know, and I know I know I'm a kind person. Kindness is the biggest value to me.
Yeah.
Kindness is the biggest thing I think I can offer, and I love to put in other people. And kindness was the one thing I wanted my daughter to succeed at, and she really does.
Right.
So I'm so proud of her. So you naturally go to your kids, don't you? You know, and your family. So if I look back and had 30 seconds, I'd be all right. Honestly, Paul, I don't want to touch face, and I don't want to be disrespectful to anything. But if anything should happen, they said you've got 6 months or whatever, I'll be at peace with it, because I do believe there's something, and I'm happy. If life has been good, and I do want decades, and I am going to appreciate it, but I'll always look back going, I'm enjoying it along the way. And that's the thing, the difference with the coming back to the whole thing of life first, business second.
Yes.
I am enjoying my life along the way. I'm not doing it waiting for my retirement. I'm not doing it waiting for my 50th birthday, or I'll do it when I'm in a relationship or when I'm married again. I'm doing it now.
That big if.
And
if this happens.
Yes,
if
and I'm not doing that. I'm not saving
absolutely.
the bracelet because it's special. I'm wearing it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's, my nanny, she's blessed, passed away now. She'd always keep the special coat for going out on a special occasion. Why? She only wore it probably ever twice, but it was a beautiful wear the coat, put the jewellery on, you know. Yeah. Live in the now.
Definitely. Okay, so is there anything that you'd want to add? Because I think we've been on quite a colourful and diverse journey. Anything that you would like to add at all?
No, I don't think so. I think hopefully, obviously this is so out of the normal interviews that I do.
Right. So
it's great to talk from the heart, isn't it? And just get an insight. And I think anyone that's listened to this, I don't know if it's been interesting, inspiring, or, whatever, but you've just got to be happy. This is our life, our journey, our story. Yeah. You create your own happy ever after. So you've just got to take responsibility for yourself. So wherever you're at this stage and you want to make a change, it's down to you. So there are ways to do it. If you're not in a good place, there's loads of support to get it. If you're in a great place, get in even a better place. Yeah. But no, nothing more to add. Thank you.
Other than, if people want to get in touch with you, Rachael, how do they do that?
Yeah, no, I'd love to. If anybody needs inspiring to do their own publicity or find their story, they can just go to the website, blueboommedia.co.uk. So it's BLUEBOO media.co.uk.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay, so there we have it, listeners. An interesting interview, I feel. I've certainly enjoyed it, as I always do. So, listen, drop us your comments. Keep in touch. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you feel. And until the next time, take care and be safe.
Thanks for listening to the Mastering the Game of Life podcast. Drop a line to paul@paullowehearts.com with any thoughts or questions you may have, and he'll be more than happy to respond. Alternatively, check out Paul's website at paullowehearts.com or any of his social media feeds under the same name. Remember, mastering life starts by embracing our hearts.